Hello, hello, we are back, finally. After what seems like the longest week in my entire life, if it really felt like that. We are finally operational, once again. Battlecruisers are operational, the computer is online. We just gotta work out all the bugs as we carry on back with our normal routine, and you know how I'm gonna ruin this momentous occasion? We are gonna build us a medium class ship. Or at least a warship to be the spearhead of my fleet, essentially. Because I got the moths there, which are going to be specifically designed to combat the Thalons frigates, cruisers, whatever you want to call them there. They just classify as a medium ship, so for the sake of simplicity, I'm probably just going to call them frigates, or cruisers in this rather. And these ships here are probably my frigates or corvettes. So, they will do the role well, especially when updating, but now I want to design a ship, a bigger ship, that is more potent, more capable of fighting them in smaller numbers, more compact, and kind of just have the momentum to keep pushing forward if an opportunity arises, where the Fireflies are kind of more like to kind of fight them on equal terms and then probably pull back to repair and slowly get the upper hand in value that way. But of course, like I said, I'm not going to go with the simple concept of using these pre-made ships, although that would probably make this video a lot quicker. I gotta say, nope, I'm gonna do the stupid thing and make my own ship. And I decide to try and keep things simple, because what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna have something very basic, kind of like the drone here, if it'll let me select it. Yeah, I got the prototype. Kind of more of a sleek design there, but just a lot bigger and a little bit more bulk to it there. Because like I said, it's going to be a spearhead, so I'm going to utilize it as such. So, with that said, what kind of cockpit do I want for it? Because we have the first thing that comes to mind is maybe using our cockpit like this, but try and somehow tweak it that I can get more lighting, like it's a larger scale ship than as opposed to one big light like this frigate. So let me see if I can play with that first. Although I would love to have this positioned in a way, well, I guess I could do that anyway by moving it forward. So I'll experiment with that. It's probably going to go horribly, but we will try. We'll up the scale some, try and make it a little bit bigger. If I can cover up that light source there, and at least minimize it, that might be good. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do that, mind you. But if I can do it reasonably well, then I'll be in good shape. And this piece could do it decently, although with the way it flushes in there, maybe not. Yeah, this going well, is it? What? Because, yeah, if I can cover that piece up reasonably well and make it look as part of the design, then I'm in good shape. Probably not the best place to start, but it's as good as any that I got. And I also got this piece, which might be a little bit better. It seems almost like some kind of engine fuselage of some sort, rather than actual cockpit, quite frankly. Similar design, so maybe I can use that instead, possibly. Actually, let me just offset in, see how much it overlaps. Overlaps a tiny bit there. Still, it's so bright you can't really see the little frame or rims that are in it. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Still seems like a small fighter cockpit. Because that's my #1 priority. If I can make that look like more of a smaller type of thing, rather than being as massive and wide as it is, then I will be in good shape. Problem is, I have no way to know how to effectively do that. So it's gonna look awful and horrible in the process, probably. Because that could do it. Well, a lot of things could do it. It's just a matter if I can implement it properly. Because that looks like a weird mask, more of a goggle of some sort. That looks horrendous. Especially since it's not quite scaled enough to fit up top. So I'm gonna have to try and fix that. Yeah, because the more I push it back, the more it's gonna want to sink in, and that's gonna stretch a lot of things. So don't know Yeah, that's not quite gonna do it. Especially with the little bit of light there too, that's gonna hurt it some. So I might have to stretch it a bit more. And it also helps if I stop targeting it there. That does it. There is a bit of stretched textures, mind you, but it's a start. But it really comes down to how the rest of the ship works, quite frankly. Because now we need a frame. We need a core, the core superstructure essentially, and I want this to be kind of long, narrow, but have the potential to increasingly get wider is basically what I want. Once it's not letting me click on it click it in place for some reason. I'm not sure why. There we go. Could this piece do it? It needs to change the scale. Because all I want is to kind of like give it an increasingly wider body is really all I want from this. So as I push it outward or push it back, it'll have more width and more mass, kind of, rather than be like the sleek fighter. Nah, this is going really well. That's always how my videos seem to start, doesn't it? So I'm not expecting miracles, I'm not expecting magic. But I do want to progressively just get this to be wider. That's really all I want, and then I'll try somehow fit into place. Come to think of it, let's see. We have boxes here. That's kind of like an easy way to do that there, but I need something that goes wide really quickly here. Kind of like this piece, maybe. I don't know. It's definitely not going to fit in that kind of concept, though. Because it's got the width there, but if I try and stretch out too much, yeah. It works as a piece that connects underneath where this frontal cockpit area is, but it doesn't have what I'm looking for as far as the width. Unless... Okay, I think I may have an idea. Once I can get this connect, we're just going to do proportional scaling. Whoop, actually, let me just scale it down roughly. Get it in place, so that way I can get a more ideal examination of it. Then we'll do proportional scaling. Because I'm going to stretch it out. I want to be careful about stretching out too much, of course, because the texture is going to get really awkward really quick. I don't really want to do that. Yeah. Whoop. Well, let's start with that there. Because what I had in mind... Yes, kind of push it back there a little bit. Although it's going to be kind of hard to do. Actually. Oh god, I'm doing it again, damn it. That's twice in like same minute almost, so that actually does do it to an extent, although there's a lot of discrepancy there because of how you can see that metal frame just disappearing instantly there, which kind of makes it look a lot more rougher than it needs to be, quite frankly, which I'm not really fond of. Let's see, does that look any better? The textures look really weird, mind you. Might be almost too wide. So I'm going to tone it back down a little, just to get the slow progressive increase. Come to think of it, can I push it up further there so that it seems almost seamless the way it forms up? I might have to drop it down some. Offset a little bit. So ideally connect with that metal piece there. That's the hope. Okay, that looks a lot better. The piping, while not perfectly flush just yet, maybe I can do that there later. It helps some. And maybe I could put another piece of some kind there, or maybe even a shell of some kind to kind of help cover over that discrepancy if needed. So that got me some extra width there. Now, we need a bulkhead, a central bulkhead structure. I'm not sure what fits for what I'm looking for, mind you. This piece could do it, if I can get the scaling for it. I almost wonder if I should just turn around. Just rotate it. Whoops, that's the wrong rotating. I keep getting my rotations mixed up. I don't know why. Well, inverting them certainly doesn't help when I try and flip them upside down, then have to rotate it. That could be part of my issue. Like right now, this Z axis would normally go the other way, I think. Yeah, I would think. And I'll have to change scaling, though, to kind of help put it in place. To my liking, at least. And then it's a matter of finding out if this piece offers what I'm looking for. Because I probably want it flush into the metal. Ideally. And then proportional scaling again. Stretch it out. Oops, I said stretch it out, not increase it. There we go. And I gotta remember I can kind of mouse scroll to kind of help fix that. Although again, the problem is how awkward this piece is. Actually, I got a better idea. Can I just make a I would like to just make a copy of this piece here. If it'll let me just rotate it around. Well, the other way. Again, I'm doing it again. Damn it. And now I gotta figure out this stupid scaling. 103 scaling. 7796. And then we'll match that. And then adjust as needed. I can't remember the scaling. 7796, okay. 96, was it? Probably too long, but now we just have to fit it. It makes it almost like an actual carapace with the matching pieces though, so I kind of like the potential of it. Try and have it seamlessly connect, although the yellow highlight kind of messes with it a little bit. So yeah, that looks like a nice shell almost to an extent rather than bulkhead, so which then leaves the question of how do I get an actual bulkhead in? Because we got all these pieces down here. Or do I want to work on the engine first? Because I got the potential for that. It's just a question of where do I want to put them? And what kind of engines do I want even? Because we got the great big square one here. We got the circular one. These little tiny thrusters. The multi-thruster here, which might be good for a cruiser. And we got these dual ones, which I think might be the best. First one I choose, I think I like them. Their potential the most. Just gotta play with them a bit. A little bit of experimentation, mind you. And we'll see how that works. Especially since I need to rotate them around. Because I definitely don't want them down like that. Change their scaling appropriately, because I want these attached to the side somewhere. Ideally. And then we'll just put this to the side for the time being. A little bit out of the way. Because the bulkhead's supposedly going to attach to that. Let me just find a good elevation position for them, though, that I would like. Where would I like to put them? Are they too far back? Do I want to put them forward? I almost want to put it right there about. Okay. So roughly around there, we'll put them aside for the time being until we can get a bulkhead figured out. Because we are going to need some kind of bulkhead, circular or some kind, to kind of connect down here. A little bit too close now. And I just don't know if any of these square-like bulkheads are going to do it for me though. Because it's going to be hard to connect it with that circular piece. So maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot here. Actually, can I fit this kind of bulkhead in? This bulkhead could do it. I gotta rotate around again, mind you. Because everything needs to be rotated. It'll fit in there just fine, but can it cover up enough? Because the problem with this bulkhead is it's completely hollow in the middle, so I have to be smart how I fill it out. Or at the very least cover it over. So that way it works. And is there proportional scaling here that I need to worry about? Nope, just scaling 71. So I'll have to adjust with that properly and find out. Anyways, where was I? Yes, trying to figure out how the hell to put this together. So if I can get the sizing right there, it's going to be awkward considering the scaling is for this piece is quite drastically different than that one piece. So obviously though, I want to do the proportional scaling to kind of try and get some width to this thing. Not too much, because there's always that risk that pretty much, let's see, before I finish that train of thought though, which I'm probably going to forget now, I do want to rotate this because I want to connect as flushly as possible with this top piece, which promptly ruined everything, but oops, and now I'm changing the scaling, and I don't want to do that, damn it. I want it, yeah, with the proportional scaling, it's so drastically different, so I want to make sure that's in place there. I could almost just have this connected right away, because apparently the proportional scaling only moves the back. So you want to be careful of that. That potentially could look good. Although the highlight makes it look worse than it actually is though, so I need to be mindful. Is that what I want? Or do I go further out? How does that potentially seem? It's too narrow, obviously. Way too narrow. And there's not really anything I can do about that, so maybe have it come out a little bit? How does that seem? I like that more. That clipping can be a bit obnoxious though, if I were to be honest, so I'll worry about that later. Let's worry about this offsetting here. Try and do my best to make sure it's in place, because I can't zoom in any further, so this is pretty much the best I'm gonna get as far as seeing if it fits in or not. But at least, yeah, there's a bit of a gap there in the front, which I can easily fix, so I'm not worried there. And that looks good. A little bit of discrepancy there just because of the texturing of these two metal pieces, but it fits in nicely. Now, this back piece looks really odd though, because there's so much wasted space, which thankfully I have just a remedy for that. Can these engines do that for me? It can if I put another piece here, although the scaling needs to be adjusted a little bit, or heck, I don't need the scaling, I just need to rotate it. Wrong rotation, damn it. I'm doing it again. So that rotation will help a little bit. I don't know what kind of rotation I want though. Would it be better to have it like that, completely upside down? It looks awkward. I don't really like it, to be honest. At an angle like that, it could fit right into the engine or the superstructure, and that will work out well. And the metal framing won't get obstructed in a way that makes it look bad, at least. So now I just need something to connect it there. Although looking at this ship, it seems way too narrow to my liking, especially with this cockpit piece, which is now starting to stick out. So I don't know. I think I need more bulk, obviously. I think that's what I need, so I could... It looks good for like a freighter of some kind almost. I'm half tempted to make this my trade ship in a sense, rather than an actual capital ship or cruiser in a sense, which is kind of awkward. Odd, but it works. This nose just is now starting to work against me here with how narrow everything else is, so I may need to somehow remove this piece altogether. Because now it just looks like some kind of weird fighter or snail. More of a snail, a little bit. So yeah, I think this piece is coming back to bite me in the ass, so how does it look? Actually, let me just shrink it out into oblivion almost. So that way everything's in place. Worst case, if I just want to get rid of it and put something else there. Although it does leave the question, what the hell do I put? Because if I put this piece in there, it's going to instantly become comparable to my pollinator a little bit. Because that's almost like a distinguishable feature to my ship once I put that on there. Yeah, suffice to say I need more width. I need more bulk. It's looking good otherwise though. I can't complain too much. It just doesn't look like a warship. That's the only problem. So what options do I have? Because I have this piece which could almost be like a connector piece if I get the scale right to these engines. Because you position it right, it'll look like an additional kind of like a shell layer to the engines, which I don't think I care for though, quite frankly. Maybe some wings will do it. What kind of wings do I have access to? Let me actually see. We got this wing piece. An odd, like, heart diamond-like style to it a little bit. A little bit odd. Don't think I ever use that piece, quite frankly. We have these straight-up wing structures. We have these kind of more wider ones, which could be decent for what I have in mind. Let's see. If I get the scaling right, can this be decent? I'll have to rotate, of course, as usual. Let's see, copy it. That's decent. It adds a nice sleek factor to it, though, but I don't think that's what I want, quite frankly. But it helps. It actually does help contribute to it a little bit. Just a little bit, though. But again, I have to keep in mind there's no cockpit on this thing now, so everything looks odd. Again, it still looks more like a storage ship if I can't add some, like, superstructure underneath it. Which is ultimately my problem. Huh, there's a bulkhead with, like, a bunch of engines to it there. Could that help solve my problem? Let me just move these engines out of the way. Because these ideally will be my kind of placeholder or reference point almost. Because they'll help easily distinguish where I want everything. Let's see, this bulkhead helps them. It is, again, wrong size there, or at least too big. But, considering their bulkheads, they could work. Everything could work. I keep saying that over and over again, so yeah, I don't know what else really to say though. It's not like I'm experienced in this type of thing. I am just desperately hoping it comes out right in the end. That's really all it is. So, but if I use it as like an extra pair of engines on top of being like an addition to superstructure, it could work. The only massive problem I have with it is the way the front's designed. It's meant for something to attach to it. So I have to come up with some ingenious method to connect two pieces, or a superstructure, bulkhead, mass of some kind, into that piece. What is it actually designed to fit? What's supposed to fit in there, quite frankly? Can I find... Let me see if I can find it here on the size scaling. And then I can work from there, because I'm assuming wherever it's meant to fit for will be on the same section as it. So where is it? Can I find it anywhere? What is it? Iconium Model 2. Wow, really? It's a small structure piece? Which makes it difficult to realize what's supposed to fit in there, quite frankly. So I don't know what to say about that. Nothing seems like it should fit there except for maybe this one piece could work. This is awkward. Let me try and adjust the positioning some. I'm trying to figure out where this blue highlight mark is so I know where I'm connecting to. Because there's so many of these arrows now, I have a really tough time, especially in 3 dimensions, to figure out where I'm connecting it to. Let's see, I found one. Is that what I want though? I think it is, if I can get it on this blue mark. I think, yeah, that did it. Good God. This thing looks like a puffer fish now. Which is not something I want. Let's fix that, shall we? But thankfully I managed to get it in place. It'll cover up that gap nicely there. Now I just gotta make sure it connects properly with everything else. So what does that mean? Do I want to make it bigger? Because there's still some missing superstructure there that I could fill up with like a shell or something. And I still need to figure out a cockpit. That's the problem. And having all these pieces, like the same pieces, the front superstructure is kind of a downside too. Actually, let me scale this back up. What was it, 167? Let's see how that looks ultimately. Again, the front piece, I guess it's a little bit too large now. Can I scale it down and move it in? Maybe I can move it in some. And then adjust the scaling accordingly, and maybe that'll help. No idea, quite frankly. Oh, and I'm moving the wrong axis again. That's actually not bad. Again, the cockpit's an issue, and the bottom is starting to rear its ugly head too because of how much I shrunk it.